Welcome to the Lodge Real Estate Home Truths Podcast. Join us as we speak the truth about home ownership, the housing market, and the place we call home, Hamilton. Come on in and make yourself comfortable.
Welcome back to another episode of Lodge's Home Truths Podcast. As always, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Nathan Smith, Branch Manager for Lodge Real Estate in Flagstaff, along with my co-host, Michelle Pickering, Residential and Lifestyle Sales Consultant at Flagstaff Branch. We've got an interesting topic on the table today, and one we think all our listeners will wind up having to consider, whether that's in the near future or some years down the track. That's right, today we're discussing retirement living. It must be said that retirement living today is very different to what it was even 10 years ago. And I'm betting there's many of you out there with a picture in your head of what retirement living involves. You might even think it's just a big group home situation, possibly like the place you visited your elderly nan back in the day. If that's the case, we hope that today's guest will change your mind, and if it's the stage of life you're approaching, it might even give you the push you need to explore the plethora of retirement living options out there. Today, I'm delighted to have one of Hamilton's retirement living experts, John Proudfoot, sales advisor for Ryman Healthcare's Linda Jones Village, and part of one of New Zealand's largest retirement village providers. Welcome, John. It's great to have you here today.
Thanks, Nathan. And
Welcome,
Michelle.
John.
It's great to be here.
Welcome, John. Welcome. Now, John, you may be aware, and for our listeners out there, that each episode we have two truths and a lie. This is where you share two true things about the topic today and one lie. And at the end, we'll discover what is true and what's not true. John, what's your two truths and a lie?
Okay, here goes. First of all, when you move into Linda Jones, you'll be given priority access to care when it's required. Secondly, you only need to move into a retirement village when your health dictates it. And thirdly, a refundable deposit of $9,500 is payable on signing, and you move in when your house sells.
Oh, wonderful. I wonder which one's the truth and which one's the lies. Okay, thanks, John. We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now on to some questions for you. First up, I think the big question on everyone's mind is, what exactly is retirement living nowadays? I know we're no longer calling it an old folks home, so I'm wondering if you can explain what's involved now, John.
That's a great question, Nathan. As you mentioned, Linda Jones is part of the Ryman Group, and in Ryman we believe the measure of a full life is one that gets richer with age. We want our residents to live their best life, and we do this by providing an environment of companionship, lots of enjoyable and fun activities, in a safe and secure village. Our retirement villages are nowhere like they were back in the 80s, where they had shared rooms, shared toilets and showers in dungy wards. We're basically leading the way in providing retirement villages, and we've done that for over 35 years now, and we have 45 villages throughout New Zealand and Australia, including Linda Jones here in the mighty Waikato, Hamilton. Our founders wanted to provide an environment that's good enough for mum and dad, and this is the values our staff live by daily. We cater for a wide variety of options. We offer independent living, assisted living, and offer full care options.
Okay, so independent living, assisted living and full care. Can you explain the differences between those, John?
Yeah, sure, Michelle. Our independent units comprise of two or three bedrooms, either townhouses or independent apartments, and they basically the best of both worlds in the sense of you can lock up and go, but you've also got the added attraction of all the activities and enjoying the vibe in the village.
Right.
And our service apartments are one bedroom service apartments based in the village centre, and we provide assisted living, and with the basic package being the housekeeping and the meals and the linen sort of changed. But we can provide all the way up to rest home care in the service apartment, and also our care options.
Okay, great.
Fantastic. So, John, what do you think some of the misconceptions around retirement living are?
Probably the main one is it's the last stop before we go see the big guy in the sky. and that you only move into retirement villages when you're unwell or your health dictates that you move. That there's a lot of rules and it's inflexible and no fun to be had at all. It's too expensive and there's a lot of hidden and nasty costs.
Yes, yeah, no, I've heard all those misconceptions myself. Okay, so there are some things we've heard too, but in fact we've had many clients sell their home through us and move into a retirement community, and often say they'd wished they'd moved in sooner. What do you think makes retirement villages worth it from your perspective?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, I hear that on a regular basis in the sense of they should have actually moved in earlier, even though it was sort of a difficult decision for them at the time. Probably the big ones are the sense of community and friendship that the village provides, and there's a relaxed and friendly vibe in the village. As I mentioned before, it's the best of both worlds. You can lock up and go. You're not tied down and having to do the lawns or the gardens, the windows and the maintenance of the property. Financial security. We provide a fixed weekly fee, so you know what your main outgoings are, and more importantly, they're fixed for life.
So, John, just on that, sorry to interrupt, does that mean that once you go in, you've allocated the weekly fee, even if it's 10, 15 years down the track, the fee would stay the same?
Exactly right, Michelle.
Gosh, that's amazing,
yeah.
isn't it?
So essentially you're getting
cost of living's going up, but
correct.
it doesn't in the retirement
You're getting a pay
village.
rise every year because with the cost of living going up, the super goes up, but your main cost is fixed forever and a day.
God, that's fantastic.
That is fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so I've got another question here for you, John.
The other point that I really wanted to make is that the real gold nugget is there's access to care. So once you're in the village, you get priority access to care when it's required. So there's top of the waiting list for all our residents.
Fantastic.
Right, I guess you've got limited space in regards to having people coming from out of the village, so those ones in the village are guaranteed that space?
Absolutely, in the sense of both my village manager and I, we get calls daily in terms of people wanting to come into our care facilities. We'll put them on a waiting list, but the reality is, unless you're a sort of a Linda Jones resident, you're not going to get anywhere near that, and that's only going to get more problematic as we go through with the increasing ageing population.
Yeah,
it'd certainly give you peace of mind, I guess, John. And I do know because a lot of my clients have gone into Linda Jones, and sometimes one will deteriorate a little bit faster than the other, with their health or whatever. And they tend to be, one may stay in their independent living and one may go into a care facility, but still on site, and they can still have coffees and spend time together, but they've got different levels of care that's needed.
Correct, absolutely. And we'll make that happen regardless of their financial position as well.
Fantastic, good to hear. Now, what do you think some of the contributing factors someone might have in their life that would perhaps start them thinking about moving into a retirement village?
Coming up to retirement, it's about what you want to do with your time, and the big thing is the flexibility in the sense of the independent units. You can lock up and go. You don't have to worry about the being tied to the village, because all that maintenance, the lawns, the gardens, all that's done for you. So you can go and do the things that you want to do in terms of going out in your camper van, go do your overseas trip. When you come back, it's exactly as you left your unit. So the ability to live your best life, really. Also, companionship's another big one for our residents. More often than not, one of their partners may have passed and they really want some companionship, or the family has sort of moving further afield. So it's a great environment in which to form friendships, because effectively you get close to your neighbours. There's a lot of activities, so you're getting to know people with like-minded interests. So there's a great ability to form those friendships and doing activities that you enjoy. We also have a recreational team that are always sort of coming up with new and fun events to sort of take our residents to, and our residents love it. So there's just plenty going on.
Actually, on that, a couple that we know that moved in there within their friendship group, they organise activities as well outside the village.
Yep.
So that's just sort of highlights once again moving in there earlier is probably a really good option to build up those relationships.
Couldn't agree more, Michelle. Yeah, and the other part of it that I touched on before, with that, and Michelle sort of mentioned the fixed weekly fee. That just gives that financial security, and as the other part of the certainty factor from a financial viewpoint, when you come into the village, you know what the cost of the apartment's going to be. You know what the weekly fee's going to be, because that's fixed for life. And the other thing that you know is how much you're going to get when you vacate it and when you're going to get it.
Absolutely.
So that financial certainty is really, really important for not only the residents but also for their family.
And for their family, Don't forget the family, of course.
One of the pushbacks I had experience with one of my clients was that she's quite social and has a lot going on outside her home as it was, and sort of felt like if she moved into Linda Jones that she's got enough going on without needing to have the activities, which I then explained to her, well, you don't have to partake, it's purely up to you.
Yep.
But now when I go to visit her, I can hardly book in.
Yeah,
She's doing happy hour down in the village a restaurant, and so it's funny how she still does her outside activities,
Totally.
but she's certainly got involved with
Totally.
the village as well and loves it.
So you're quite right in the sense of the residents. It's up to them in terms of how much or how little they want to be involved. But the reality is, once they're in there, they can sort of sign up for the activities they enjoy. They make new connections, and it just builds from there. It's really important for us in terms of that value I mentioned before that our staff believe in. It's got to be good enough for mum and dad. So we're just providing the environment, and if you provide a good environment, the residents do the rest with themselves, and they just love it. So, and they really do live their best lives.
Yeah, you must have families also say to you how grateful they are. It takes the pressure and the weight off them, and they can see how much mum and dad are really enjoying it.
And it's really cool to see. It's great.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
So on that note, if you are making a decision that possibly you might look at moving into a retirement village, and Linda Jones particularly, what do they need to do to get the ball rolling for that?
Just simply pick up the phone and call us, in the sense of come and make a time to see us, and we'll show you around the village. We've got show units set up for both townhouses, independent apartment, and the service apartment. We'll give a full tour of the facilities that we've got. And I really encourage our sort of listeners to do that, because it's only by coming and doing a village tour do you get a real sense of the vibe in the village, and you'll get a critique and talk to the residents in terms of how they're finding it. And we find that when they do that point that we made before, we love it here. We weren't sure whether or not we should come, but now that they're in the village, they come with their comment, we love it and we should have done it earlier. Come and see us. But we do also have an internet in terms of our website. We have our website, so free to browse to have a look around there. And if you feel a little bit pressurised in regards to a personalised tour, sort of understand that, just look out, because once a quarter or thereabouts, we have open days, so you can just sort of come in and walk around in the open day and just get a feel for it. And then if it's what our residents sort of like, then you can sort of take the next steps and give us a call.
And John, we have clients, it may not be now that they're wanting to make that move, but they're thinking maybe in 5 years' time, is it still worth them coming to have a look now?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone's different. Some people sort of take, 2 or 3 months to make a decision, whereas other people might sort of take 2 or 3 years. Everyone's different, so we sort of respect that. But don't make a decision and discount a retirement village until you've come and have a look. Don't say
I
no.
guess you never know what's around the corner either, do you?
Now, John's got a great catchphrase here. How's it go, John? Don't say no.
Never say no until you know what you're saying no to.
I like that.
Yeah.
And just the other thing, just to put a little bit of a contents in terms of the financial consideration, the independent apartments, they pretty much range from $800 to $900, and the fixed weekly fee is $175 a week. And in regards to the service apartments, the basic package is $395 a week, and those the purchase price of those units are pretty much $430 to $535.
So what does that 175 cover? Just quickly, don't need it all in deets, but
pretty much the rates and insurance, the maintenance, effectively when you vacate the unit, effectively the selling and marketing costs, the activities of the village, basically what else we got there?
Swimming pool, the gym,
all the activities and stuff.
club, I've seen a billiards table, the library, men's, you've got a men's shed as well, haven't you?
That's we have,
That's fantastic. Yeah, what else was I thinking about there? Oh, the happy hour. Now you have a happy hour.
Yeah, so
maybe 1 or 2 nights a week for some of the
trust you to bring that one up, Nathan.
You've sneaked in a couple of happy hours there as
I was
well.
there last week, just discussing this podcast actually, John. business, yeah.
Our residents, we have happy hours, and the each residence comes along to their own sort of dedicated sort of happy hour during the week. So that's included in the weekly fee. And after our happy hours, we have an open bar as well. So friends and family are more than welcome to join our residents and basically enjoy the lounge that we provide.
Is there happy hour you pay for your drinks or?
And the happy hour, that's part of the weekly fee. So
Wow!
Yeah.
Oh crikey!
175. Okay, now look, let's talk specifically about the involvement of a great real estate agent in this process. This is what we're here for, John. We do a little bit of business ourselves. What's the best way to involve your real estate agent when you're looking at a retirement home?
Okay, because that's a really important sort of question in the context of what I do on a daily basis, in the sense of once a sort of a prospective purchaser comes and looks at the village and picks out a unit that they want, they can actually secure that unit and they can sign up the application subject to their house selling. And once the contracts are signed, that's when they pay a deposit of $9,500, right. And then settlement is effectively when their house sells, right? So, hence the involvement of a very reliable real estate agent. And it's really important for the resident.
Well, you're looking at a couple of those, John.
Absolutely, I am. Yep. Nathan and Michelle.
Little plug for us.
But so that's important for the resident and for us, because obviously we want the resident to move in and settle, and we'll go on to sort of selling the next one. But
what time frame does that look like, John? From sort of paying deposit to getting your
pretty much as long as it's going to take, and that's why we'd like to sort of work with really sharp operators such as yourself. So, and what I suggest is, I actually sort of do find out from the residents who they are intending to sell their property. And I sort of drill down, I guess, as on the flip side of what you do on a daily basis, I sort of get them to explain to me what their real estate agent is going to provide, i.e. how they're going to go about and market that particular property. So what's the marketing plan? What do they need to do to effectively get the house in such a manner that it's going to be nicely presented to the market? And more importantly, is the house sort of priced appropriately for the market? Right. So that's the value add that obviously the real estate agents provide, and that I sort of do critique a little bit. And it's really important to me that effectively my incoming residents are getting the proper support that they can.
100%.
And that's why it's great working with the likes of you both.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Look, and let's face it. At the end of the day, you sell your house at market value. You move it on, and you move into the next stage of your life, and you keep living.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's some great advice there, John. Thank you. And just quickly, is there anything currently available on new to market for you at the village? What have you got available today?
We've actually got stock available for all options, actually, in terms of our townhouses. We've just finished the last stage of the development of the village, so pretty much a brand new village, Linda Jones, coming up to 4 years old. So we've got 18 townhouses, we've got 6 independent apartments, and we've got 6 service apartments available. And in terms of basically, I mean, when the family sort of come along and sort of looking on behalf of mum and dad, one of the things I do sort of say is, you know, the units that we provide, like I said before, they do need to be good enough for mum and dad. And so they need to be modern, they need to be, you know, basically with really good sort of spec. And if it meets that acid test, is this unit that they're looking at buying going to be good enough for mum and dad? We know we've done our job.
Absolutely. And we've been through the new units, the townhouses and the apartments. They're fantastic. They're modern, stunning. They're crisp as anything. So I can see how easy it is for people to move from their modern home into the modern living at Linda Jones.
And there's enough options, you know, whether you like the north-facing sun, you want street front, you've got a pet, yeah, there's heaps of options there that they've got to choose from.
And at the moment, the timing's great as well, because we've got some really good incentives and entices for our new sort of prospective sort of purchasers. If they sort of sign up with an application before Christmas, there's something in it for them.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Bit of the Christmas
I think you're going to
bonus.
have to contact John to find out more about that.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, John, well, that's wonderful. Almost run out of time. You certainly shared some food for thought when it comes to retirement living options. And I'd urge anyone who is approaching this stage in life to have a serious think about the different providers and what they offer. There really is something for everyone. And just quickly, John, before we do wrap up, if you can just repeat your 2 truths and a lie and let us know which one was the lie.
Okay. The first one, I think from memory, was with Retirement Village, you've got priority access to care as and when it's required. You only need to come to a Retirement Village when your health dictates it. And thirdly, a refundable deposit is payable on signing, and you can move in when your house sells.
I can answer the first one, John. I was listening.
Right, okay.
So you do get priority care, don't you, John?
You
that was
do.
true.
Good
So
work,
it's a
Michelle.
truth.
Yeah,
It's a
thank
truth,
you.
isn't it, Michelle?
What about the
That's a
second
truth.
one, Michelle?
What was the second one, John?
So you only need to come to Retirement Village when your health dictates
No,
it.
I saw your nose grow when you said that one. That one's the lie.
Yeah, no, you're too good. No,
I'm
well
pretty
done.
good, eh?
And I think that actually brings us up to a point John and I and Michelle have discussed in the past. If you're looking to come into a retirement home, we talk about, the perception is that you go there to, dare I say, die, but really what you do is you go there to live.
That's it.
That's
Live your
right.
best life.
Oh,
Absolutely.
good one, John.
Yeah, no, thank you both. That's been great.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for tuning to Home Truths, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us on the Lodge Real Estate Home Truths podcast. Learn more about today's topic and our panel guests by visiting our website lodge.co.nz.